Guys, we are going to go into our sermon now. So if you are small, it's time for you to go to your kids group over there. So off you go. If you are creche age, well, probably if your parents are listening to this, you're going to go out that door. And you get to listen to me. How exciting is that this morning? Are you excited? I can tell how excited you all are. That's great. If you write notes, you can have a chocolate bar today. So there we go. Find your notes. That's not for the adults, by the way. I mean, if they were really good notes, I may consider it. Guys, while the children are getting sorted, just have a look at someone in the room that you'd like to say hello to. Just introduce yourself. That might mean you need to get up for a moment, say hello to somebody. Some of you are looking alarmed at me. Find someone to say hi to.
Hey, yes, you can have a hug.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do you know where Danusha's not sitting?
No, I'm good. Thank you. My husband's away. I have time to do things like straighten my hair. Someone said to me, "You look very lively today." I think we're nearly there. The parents have nearly returned. What are they doing in there today? Anyway, let's start. We might be waiting a long time. As Alex said, welcome to you if you are new this morning. You have caught us in the middle of a series which is called I Am Who God Says He Is. And we've been going on this journey of learning a little bit more about what God says, who God says He is in Exodus 34. And we're going to carry on that today. Wow, we had a Christmas kind of announcement today. Anyone ready? Anyone kind of like feel the of Christmas slightly? Of the like, wow, please not yet. It's December next week, guys. It's December next week. That's crazy. How many of you are gifts people? Any gifts people in the room? Oh, I thought there would be more gifts people. I am a self-confessed gifts person. Guys, it's Christmas. I'm a gifts person. I can say that from the front, and I need you to take note of that. Just pop it on your radar. I'm a gifts person, okay? Chocolate bar. No, please, not chocolate bars. Oh, for you, I know I'm giving gifts out all the time. I like to give and receive, but mostly receive. I'm a gifts person, but the truth is, I'm a bit of a complicated gifts person. Anyone like a complicated gifts person? I love it when someone buys me something. Okay, I love it, but I hate tat and I hate clutter, and I really like certain colors. If you ask me what I want, I don't know. But when you give it to me, I will know if I want it or not. All right? That is the kind of gifts person that I am. Anyone sitting next to that person right now? My family used to joke, and they used to say, make sure you really like the gift that you're getting for Hannah, because if she doesn't like it, you might get it back next year. That was me, and the truth is I keep a list of who gave me what, just in case. One, so I can thank them, because I'm very thankful for the gifts I get, but also, two, I'm not going to give it back to the wrong the same person afterwards. I'm very grateful, don't forget that. I love gifts, don't forget that. You're very welcome to buy me all the gifts. They bring me great joy to my heart. I just might not keep them. But it's a bonus because you might get it back. So whatever you buy for me, buy something that you like, because it's a win-win then, isn't it? It's an absolute win-win. My family, we don't do like lots of Christmas presents now. You know when it's like too big and too expensive to give gifts to everyone, you have to take out a second mortgage at Christmas. So we do that thing where you put your kind of names in a hat and everyone picks one out and you get to give a gift to that person. And it normally goes something like this. You pick a name out of a hat of that person. You ask that person what they want. They give you a link to something on Amazon that's exactly what they want. You buy it, or sometimes they even buy it, give it to you. You wrap it up, and then at Christmas they open it and go, wow, this is amazing. Anyone else have a family? We're strange, aren't we? We are strange when it comes to gifts and those kind of things. And truth is, I love the idea of a surprise. I love the idea of trusting someone else, but kind of deep down, I don't know if anyone can resonate with me, but deep down, I kind of like to know what I'm getting. I like to know what I'm getting. I like to imagine that I'm a wildly trusting person, but the reality is, I would really like to control the surprise party that you're throwing for me just a little bit, I don't need to tell anyone that I know. I can act surprised in the moment. Oh, wow, surprise. But, if I can just have a little bit of input into it just to make sure it's right, then I'm happy. I hope you don't kind of like change your thoughts about me after confessing all of that. But honestly, that's often what we're like. And honestly, it's what we're like with God sometimes too. It's what we're like with God sometimes too. God, I know that you know what I need. God, I know that you know where I'm going. You have the plans that you have for me. It sounds so beautiful. But God, I do have a list. I do have a list. I don't know if you want to see it. Like it's got a link to the perfect husband, to the perfect house. All the links are there. I don't need another husband. One is enough. But, if I did need another one, it's all that, it's all exactly there. And, we do that with God, whether it's a job. This week for me, it was the climate. God, you know the climate that I'd like to live in, right? It is not here. But it's, I don't need to, I can just have a little bit of input, God, and I'm really happy to kind of give all the glory to you when what I want comes to me and go, wow, God, you're amazing. But, if I can just have a little bit of control of that. And we like the idea of trusting. We also like the idea of knowing what's coming. We love the gift, but we'd really like to give the link as well. Anyone tracking with me? Anyone like, yeah, I'm a little bit like that. Well, we've reached the fifth and the final attribute of our verses that we're looking at today, and we're talking about God is faithful. God is someone that you can trust in. If we can put the verse on the screen, this is the verse that we've been looking at in this last couple of weeks. Ta-da-da. It's not there. I will read it for. Oh, there we are. Good. This is what we've been looking at, and so we are on the fifth attribute of God. Let's all read this together, shall we? And then we'll start. Ready? Then the Lord Yahweh came down in the cloud and stood there with him, and proclaimed his name, Yahweh, Yahweh, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness. That last word that we're looking at today is faithfulness. And it comes from a Hebrew word called emet. Everyone say emet. Do you remember the word for abounding love last week? Anyone remember what that is? Chesed, that's right. You can get your going. Chesed. And now we're learning another Greek word, Hebrew word, emet, which is faithfulness worthy of trust. And, that word, the root of that word, you get all kinds of English words: faith, trust, truth, believe, trustworthy. They all kind of come from this one root word in the Hebrew. And it's kind of got this sense of being steady, unmoving, reliable, something you can lean your full weight on. Okay, that's what we're talking about. And with no fear of shifting, like putting weight on without fear that something's going to move. All right? And when the Bible says God is abounding in faithfulness, that means that God is utterly faithful. Absolutely, utterly faithful. Completely trustworthy. A solid place to stand. That's our God this morning. That is our God. And, if you ask most people what it means to be a Christian, you use that word faith, don't you? You use that word trust. You say, it's to have faith in God. It's to trust God. It's to believe. We use these words all the time. And in our culture, though, often we think of faith as something that you have despite evidence. Okay? That's kind of how we are in our culture. We kind of close our eyes and cross our fingers. Of course, we don't. But you close your eyes, cross your fingers, and kind of really hope that whatever you're putting your faith in is going to be okay. That's kind of how we are in our culture. I don't know if you've had that experience when someone says to you, "Don't you trust me? Don't you trust me?" Anyone had that moment where you're like, "My kids, don't you trust me?" And, it's like an accusation. It's like, I'm there and my heart's really wanting to trust you. My head's saying, I'd be really stupid to trust you right now. But somehow in this moment, when I don't trust you, it's a reflection of me and not of you and your character. Like, how does that happen? How does that all get turned away? So we kind of we can get a bit confused about faith. And but that's not what biblical faith is. When in the Bible we're talking about faith, we're not talking about something blind or something fragile or something that I'm emotionally working myself up to do. It's not something that I manufacture. Biblical trust doesn't deny evidence. Okay, biblical trust rests on evidence. It rests on foundation. So when we're talking about faith in God, we're not talking about what you're doing. We're talking about who he is and the solidity, I don't know if that's a word, of what we can stand on. Okay? And so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about faith in God. Our faith is anchored not in our strength to hold on, not in our ability to trust, but in the God who has proven himself faithful again and again and again and again, all through the Bible, through our lives as we look at that journey. It's steady, it's reliable, it's unchanging, and it's true. It's steady. Tim Keller says this. He says, faith is not the absence of thinking. You just got to have faith. It is the presence of trust in a God who has shown himself faithful. John Stott says this: faith is a reasoning trust, a trust that reckons thoughtfully and confidently upon the faithfulness of God. Psalm 18 verse 2 says this: the Lord is my rock. It's a really good description word for what God is in our lives. He is our rock. I'm so thankful in a changing world where everything else is uncertain. Everything else is up and down. Even the things we think are certain sometimes aren't certain. But we have a rock beneath our feet this morning that never changes. You know, that word emet, which is that word trust, or kind of words that come from that, is used over 1,100 times in the Bible. That's a lot, right? 1,100 times it talks about this truth of trusting God. And often it's paired with abounding love, hesed. They go together. Abounding love and faithfulness kind of often sit together when you're talking about God. Steadfast love and faithfulness. Steadfast love and faithfulness. And, you know, they're covenant words, aren't they? They're like promise words. Some of you stood at an altar when you got married and promised to love and promised to be faithful to your spouse in that moment. And it's the same with God in the Bible. It's a covenant word. He's promising something to his people with the expectation that his people would respond in putting their faith and trust in him. Okay, so there's this two-way thing. God is faithful, and he invites his people to put their faith in him. It's an uneven relationship, okay? Because here you've got a perfect God, full of strength and truth. And what he's saying to his people are, come and put your faith here. Come and put your faith here. And, you know, he first said it to a guy called Abraham a long time ago in Genesis 12 in the Bible. And he comes to him one day and he says, listen, I want you to go on a journey with me. I want you to leave your home. I want you to leave your family. I want you to leave your household. And I have a land that I'm going to promise to you. And Abraham goes on this journey with God. But God makes him a promise. He said, I'm going to make you a great nation. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to make your name great. And you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who dishonor you. And through you, all the families of the earth will be blessed. So there was this transaction. I'm going to be your God. You can be my people. And the result of that is that all the nations of the world will be blessed. And that was the journey. And the whole Bible, if you read it from cover to cover, it reflects kind of the lives of people like Abraham who go on journeys with God. They have moments where they have revelations of like, wow, you're someone I can trust. You're someone I can depend on. I was made to follow you. And they go on this journey following God. And they spend the rest of their lives working out what that looks like. All right? And there's some bumpy moments when we're like, oh, I trust you, God. Oh, maybe I'll order my own present here, and then I'll give it. You know, they're in that place where they're like, God, I trust you. oh, I'm not sure. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. Oh, I trust you. Anyone resonate with that? We kind of like that in our lives as well, don't we? God, I give you everything. Take everything. Oh, can we do it this way? I'm just not sure. And there's some fascinating journeys in the Bible of people who desperately trust God, but they wobble. And then they get in mess because they've taken things into their own hands, and then they revert back, which kind of probably is the story of many people in this room. But there's an amazing moment in Romans 4 that talks about this journey of Abraham. And there's a moment for Abraham where he gets to a point where he's 100 years old, which is pretty good for everyone. But God has promised him that his descendants are going to be like the stars in the sky. And they have this moment. He's 100, his wife's as old, and so their childbearing days are over. And as far as they're concerned, it's not happening. But it says about him here, it says, Abraham never wavered. He wavered in his early years, but he'd got to a point and an age where it said this, Abraham never wavered in believing God's promise. Isn't that crazy? In fact, his faith grew stronger. And in this, he brought glory to God. He was fully convinced that God was able to do whatever he promised. And because of Abraham's faith, he counted him as righteousness. This amazing moment. God, I'm standing in this impossibility in life, but I'm trusting you. I'm standing in this impossible moment, but I'm trusting you. And, we see in his life, and we see in our own lives as well, that trust can't just sit as a theology in our heads. It can't just, it needs to be there. It's good, but it can't just stay there. It can't just say, as God, you're trustworthy. It has to be something that we receive in our hearts as much as believe in our heads. And that's where it gets really real, right? Trust can be hard. Trust can be hard, right? You there? Trust can be hard. I can know it in my head that I trust God. But when the bills come in and the bills are bigger than the income, it's really hard to have that moment where I trust you, God. When those things happen that we don't expect. We live in a world that erodes trust. That erodes trust. People let you down. Situations blindside you. If you ever have one of those things that something happens and you're like, oh. Tragedy hits in a way that you've never imagined. Trust gets eroded in different places. The big things and then the chipping of the small things too, I remember when I lost my belief in people having the ability to buy me good Christmas presents. It was when I got, as my main present for Christmas one year, I got a bedside lamp that was pink, which was wrong on so many. And there was this moment in life where I'm like, no way, that's my main present? Where's Rachel? Is she in the room? She'll resonate. She got one too. But it was like, there's just little moments. I'm sounding like a really ungrateful person today. But there's just little things, isn't there, that chip away at your trust. I'm not known. I'm not loved. I'm not cared for. This isn't safe. And it can go on and on. And the scriptures, the Bible is full of people that have that journey too. They have this struggle with trust. But what's amazing is in the Bible, there's never any shame put on those who have that journey, that's struggling with the concept of trusting God. There's no shame. God's just like, keep following, keep walking. I'll just keep showing you that I'm compassionate, that I'm gracious, that I'm slow to anger, that I'm rich in love, and abounding in faithfulness. I'm just going to keep going. You'll get it. You'll get it. Just keep following me. No shame. Some of you today are berating yourself because you're like, oh, I should just trust. It's all right. Keep following. Keep stepping. One step in front of the other. And as you look at him, and as he's consistently faithful to you, in that walk, he will heal your heart. He will take you on the journey. He will take you to the places that you need to go. God just invited them to come with him. It's all right. Just go on that journey together. So yeah, even the concept of God being compassionate, gracious, slow to anger, rich in love, abounding in faithfulness. You know, it's not just something that God is out there. It's something that we see in the midst of us. When Jesus is on the earth, it becomes not just a concept or not just a kind of vague journey, but we see in the life of Jesus in the New Testament, God who's consistent. You know, for me, I'm a really nice person when I'm not around people. I like to think I was gracious, compassionate, slow to anger. I get with people and I'm like, wow, my husband and my daughter are away in America at the moment. And I walked in here and someone said, well, you look really well. And I'm like, oh, it's because all I've had to think about this week is me. That's all I've had to think about. And I'm a really nice, jolly person when all I have to think about is myself. You know, when I come up against people, I'm like, whoa, this is intense. But God did that. He just didn't show himself as someone out there who's like, hey, this is who I am. He came down to earth as Jesus, and he was still the utterly compassionate, utterly gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love. And people saw it, and they wanted to follow it. They were like, whatever that is, whoever you are, I don't know. I find myself leaving everything that I have to follow you. I don't understand it. I don't know why my heart's going that way, but there's something about you that I cannot not leave. And we watch them go on this journey. They search him out. Even when he's trying to hide, they're like, Jesus, where are you? I need to find you. And they listen to him. And then they ask him things because they see who he is. They're like, Jesus, would you do this for me? Jesus, I need this. And it comes out of this place of seeing his character, seeing who he was. You know, there's a story in Mark 9 of a father. And your fathers will resonate with this. You know, their father had a son who was utterly tormented. And God, and he takes him to Jesus, and he says to Jesus, if you can do anything. See, there's an if there. He isn't saying, Jesus, I know what you can do. He's like, if, Jesus, you can do something, have compassion on us and help us. And Jesus says, can I? If you can. He says, all things are possible for those who believe. All things are possible for those who believe. And he says this amazing phrase, this father. He says, I believe, help my unbelief. I believe, help my unbelief. Can you resonate with that? I sit in this thing of, God, I believe you, but there's so much that I'm holding here, and I don't really know how to do that, and I disqualify myself because I'm like a seesaw, and one time I'm here, and I'm like this. What did God do? He came and he healed his son. You know, faith isn't like an on-off switch. It isn't that you have it or you don't have it. All right, faith is a movement, a posture. It's a movement towards God. And even when it's shaky, even when it's kind of like, oh, I'm not sure about this, honest faith still moves towards Jesus. You know, you might be on a journey today and you don't really know much about him, but you're intrigued and you're like, oh, everything else in my life is changing. Everything else is unstable, and I find myself drawn to him. And I'd say just keep moving a step closer. That little bit of faith that you have, just lean in. And I tell you what you'll find is a God who is utterly compassionate, gracious, slow to anger, rich in love, abounding in faithfulness. You know, the cross of Jesus was his ultimate moment where he displayed his compassionate mercy and his gratefulness and his thankfulness and his, faithfulness. All the words, all the nesses. It was there that he took all the weight that you couldn't carry and he put it upon himself. The sin, the mess, all that stuff in your life. And he's like, I'll take that and exchange it for my perfection. And we have this amazing exchange. And even that takes trust, yeah? We're like, wow, I can't get my head around that. It's all right. We will take eternity to get our heads around that exchange, that journey, losing all my words, whatever it is, exchange. You know, I have this chair here this morning. Some of you are wondering why I had a chair. I have a chair. You know, I could sit here or stand here and tell you all about this chair this morning. Could show it to you. Be like, good chair. I could describe it. I could testify to its qualities. I could tell you lots of things. I can urge you, sit on the chair. It's a good chair. But until I actually put my weight on the chair, it's just a theory. It's just a concept. It's not a truth that matches with what I'm telling you about the chair. Does that make sense? You know, trusting in God is the same. You know, belief about God is the same. You know, choosing. I get to choose today. You get to choose. As I'm talking about who God is, you get to choose. Am I going to rest on that truth? Am I going to put my life on that truth? See, what we can do in life is we can spend our time testifying about the chair. We can testify to our children. This is an amazing chair, guys. This is a worth sitting on. But then we actually never demonstrate to our children, I'm sitting on the chair. Finances. You know, God's your provider. Kids, he'll always be there for you. You can put your faith in him. The bills come and they can hear you talking. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? How's it going to work? Does that make sense? Yeah. When I get to sit in the chair in front of my kids and go, wow, I feel a bit overwhelmed. I feel a bit, you know, I don't know where it's coming from, but what I do know is that I have a God that doesn't move. And I can sit in this place and display to the people around me, to my children, to those who don't know him, hey, there's a chair that I'm sitting on in my life that just never moves. And it's the character of God. It's who he is. It's who he is. You know, there's a moment in Exodus 17 where the Israelites are in a battle. And I'm sure you remember this moment if you've done your Bible stories at Sunday school. But there's a moment where Moses is standing on the top of a mountain. There's a fight going on down below him. But as leader, God's told him to stand at the top of the mountain and hold his hands up. And when he holds his hands up, there's victory down in the valley. And then when he drops his hand, they begin losing in the valley. And we all know this story, don't we? Because we use it for each other sometimes when we're going around talking, and we're like, oh, we talk about this fact that they came around him and they held up his hands. And we're like, that's beautiful. That's amazing. I'm going to come around you. I'm going to hold up your hands when we're on this journey. You know, it's going to be okay. And we can talk about this. But you know what? There's something we always miss out in this verse when we're talking about this. before anyone came around him, there was this moment where it says, but Moses' hands grew tired, and they took a stone, and they took a rock, and they put it under him, and he sat on it. He sat on it. Yes, they held up his arms, but he sat on a rock. He sat on a rock. You know, that rock is profound. You know, you can come here to church today, and you can be feeling rough about things, and we can hold up your hands, and we can give you advice, and we can love you. But we are not the answer to your journey. Therapy is not the answer to your journey. The rock beneath your feet is the answer to your journey of what you need in life. The rock beneath your feet. Sorry, my thing keeps locking. You know, one of my favorite testimonies this year was of a guy who was at a workplace with a friend and going through a hard time in his life, and consistently when he talked with his friend, he would one of them would say, you know, would tell his troubles, and the other would say, I can't help you, but Jesus can. I can't help you, but Jesus can. And there was this amazing moment where he kept pointing to Jesus, pointing to the rock. And there was one moment where he started coming to church, and he found the rock for himself. He found the place. See, what sometimes we do is we help and we love and we care and we give support and we hold up hands, and we forget there's a rock that we're meant to be sitting on. The people around you will always disappoint you in some way or another. There is a rock that you can sit on in your life that will never move. And that is the character of God, the person of Jesus. You know, even in my own life at the moment, you know, I'm just about to overshare, but I'm that kind of age where women go through all kinds of crazy problems, supposedly. You know, and I look through if I look through my computer, it's all about premenopause. It's all about all these things that are going to happen to me and all the journey that I'm about to go through, okay? And some of you like too much information. But, you know, it's like this stage is coming. Your body is going to do this. Your mind is going to do that. And I'm like, oh, and my husband's like, oh, and, you know, we're going on this journey together. And so I'm researching a bit, and I'm like, maybe I should take these tablets. And I'm doing all these things, and I'm taking the tablets, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm you know, supplements and routines, and sometimes exercise when I can get my head together, and all the things. And, you know, I remember the other day, God just said to me, sit down, Hannah. Sit down. Be still. You said it today. Be still and know that I am God in every season of your life. Your peace, your ability to be kind, your ability to get through the day doesn't start with the supplements you take in the morning. It's nothing to do with what you eat. It's to do with the fact that you get to sit down on the rock of who I am. And everything else comes from this place. When I'm sitting with an awareness of his compassion, I become more compassionate. All the time. We are given places where we're kind of seeking all the things that we need. And we're told this is what it's going to be like. And we go, oh. God's like, hey, sit down. Some of you today, there's an invitation. Sit down on the rock of Jesus in your situation, and you will find that it has all that you need for what you're going through. All that you need for what you're going through. You know, we have a couple in church right now. Some of you know them, Steve and Debbie Carruthers. Debbie's battling cancer right now, and she needs a miracle. And I love that we could all pray together and be consistent in praying that she gets a miracle, that God would heal her body, that God would make her well. You know, if I could give God an Amazon wish list for Debbie right now, it would be that she was out of pain. It would be that she's given more time. It'd be that she gets to see her grandchildren grow up. There's a whole load of things that I asked the Lord for. And you know, we bring these requests to him, sometimes boldly and confidently, sometimes without words, because we can't even say what we want to say. But all the while, we get to do that, seated on the rock of his character, which doesn't change. Which doesn't change. You know, whether we see what we're asking for or not, God remains the same. He is the one constant. He's gracious, he's kind, he's compassionate, he's slow to anger, rich in love, abounding in faithfulness. And you know, I've watched Steve and Debbie go through this journey, and I see this incredible trust, this incredible grounding in who he is. And it's from that place that they can contend. You know, and whether we see evidence of a healing this side of heaven, which I will not stop praying for, or whether we see it the other side in eternity, he remains the same. He doesn't change. Who he is not about his answer, it's about his character. And so I can ask big things seated on the chair of who he is. Seated on the chair of who he is. Recognizing he's utterly trustworthy. Even when life is hard. Even when I don't understand it. Even when I wish it were different. He's trustworthy. And in him, I have everything that I need. Everything that I need. You know, I don't know where you're at this morning. I know some of you are weary. Some of you are disappointed. Some of you need healing in your bodies. Some of you are fighting battles that feel really impossible right now. And we can gather and we can hold up each other's arms in a beautiful way. But I want to invite you today to sit, to stand on the rock that is Jesus. And you know, some of you are having a revelation right now that you're like, oh man, I used to do that. And then I got confused between his character and what he does, and it all got messy. And now, yeah, I kind of recognize the rock, I honor the rock, say hi to the rock every now and again, but he's inviting you to be still, to come today and sit on the rock. To place your weight on the unchanging character of God. Steady, immovable, unchanging. It's the safest place you could ever sit in your life. It's the best place. It's a place where you can ask all the things, but not be rocked if life doesn't look like you want it to look. You know, I want us to... Kay, where's Kay? Can you come up and play the piano? Where's he gone? Is Caleb here? Oh, yeah, there. I just want us to do something as we go back into some worship right now. I don't quite know how this will work, but we're going to try it. If we're going to go back into worship, and I just felt that there was a fresh invitation for some of us today to actually choose to sit back in that place of being rooted, grounded in who he is. In whatever circumstances, whatever moments you're in. And it may be that you've never done it. It may be that you've always looked at faith in God, and today he's inviting you for the first time to come and sit down on the character of who he is. The truth of Jesus and what he's done for you. So as we worship, if you believe that you would like to do that today, I'm going to ask you to do something that demonstrates your faith. I'm going to ask you to find a chair. It might not be the one that you're sitting on, but I want you to take a chair, and I want you to take it to the front. And as a prophetic act, not hiding in secret where no one can see, but as a powerful line in the sand moment, I want you to sit on that chair here and be like, this is my moment. This is my moment of choosing to put my faith in the one who's utterly faithful. So if that's you, at any time in the worship, come. What I don't want you to do today is go away saying, maybe I should have done that. Remember, the faith, it's not about the size of your faith this morning. It's about the bigness of the God that you're putting your faith in. You might have had a flicker of faith this morning. Come, sit with that flicker of faith. There's no magic presence at the front, but there is a power in declaring, putting your faith on the line and saying, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going to do. So let's stand.